okay now? Can you hear me? Now is that better?
Now is that better?
Oh.
Now is that better?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Now.
Hello? 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 Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me okay? I'm not sure if I'm coming through okay, but let me know because it's obviously just messed up my thing. I was trying to add some music to the loading screen, but didn't quite work. Yeah? Okay, good, fine. Okay, good. Let's talk about the market, shall we? First off, congrats. I don't think Nick's is still echoing. Is it echoing now? Is it echoing now? Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. I don't know. I don't know what I've just done there. I've obviously messed up all my audios. I don't know what I've just done there. Okay. What about now? Is that better? Is that better? What about now? Is that better? Is that better? Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Hey Sancho, how you doing? Sorry, we're just having I'm just having some audio issues right now. I'm just having some audio issues right now. But anyway, I'll try and figure it out. Okay. Okay. 1 second. Just give me 1 second, guys. Apologies. Apologies. 1 second. Okay, let's try that. Is that a bit better? Okay, let's try that. Is that a bit better? Is that a bit better? Testing. Is that a bit better? Testing. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Not usually like this. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Not usually like this. Test, test, test. Okay, fine. I'll just do it. I'll figure it out afterwards, and we'll go on from there. So, anyway, okay, let's talk markets. Before I get into it, Nick, I don't know if Nick's in the room. He usually is, but he was the second winner of the $50,000 giveaway that we do on the website. If you're interested in that, we do that every month. The links are down below. So well done, Nick. He's won a $50,000 FTMO challenge, which is good. I had a decent day on mine yesterday with a scalp, so I'm getting back up there. Hopefully after a poor 2 months, it's starting to get a bit better. So I've gone from this account from like 183 up to 194. So hopefully I can get that up to over 200 and get my free repeat. And when market conditions get a little bit better. So yeah, we'll see. You know, a decent scalp yesterday in EJ here. And this is what I'm going to do today. I think the moves are starting to seem a little bit more fluid. So I took this scalp yesterday on EJ on this head and shoulders pattern on the 5-minute. And if we look at this, right, a very nice kind of wedging structure here prior to the level on this head and shoulders pattern. Took that breakout, stops underneath, and got taken out roughly around here on the SAR. So that was a nice little scalp. I got some decent money out of that, and I'm looking to do that again today because I think there's kind of slim pickings really everywhere else. I've only got 2 pairs on my watch list. If you guys have got anything, let me know. But we'll start with the SPX. So the SPX is kind of Had a little bit of a dip down yesterday. I've not really read the fundamental news on why. I've been busy doing everything with the website this morning. But, you know, it's certainly a decent drop here from all-time highs. You know, slightly breaching these all-time highs and then immediately rejecting them. Whether that be because the context here isn't great, like I said, we have come here. It did start to look a little bit better, but, you know, in terms of a breakout, would you have taken that on any other currency pair? Absolutely not. So maybe it's something to do with that it just wasn't ready to move yet. We've got that slight or that decent fake, and we're roughly around this support area now. So we're getting a slight reaction around the support area on London Open. Now, whether this movement up is a corrective or a change in trend, it's yet to be seen. So we're obviously still in corrective mode now, right? Nothing there, although this was a decent hour bar, there's nothing there indicating to me that, although that is bullish, that this is anything more than a corrective at this point in time. And if we drill down to the lower time frames, possibly that momentum to the upside is stalling right now, you know, stalling from this push. And possibly, I don't think that's the end of the corrective yet. I think we need a little bit more. But I think maybe today might be a little corrective day because of the decent move we've had over Asian session and at the end of last night's US session. So I've not put it there on my upside, but I've basically gone neutral / slight risk off. In saying that, the daily doesn't look too bad, does it? So the daily doesn't look too bad. We breached these all-time highs on the daily, and it looks to be possibly retesting this area on this daily chart. So even though the smaller time frames look a little bit severe, on this daily chart, which is probably the most powerful, it doesn't look too bad. You know, again, we're continuing in this Dow theory uptrend, higher highs, right, or higher lows, higher highs, etc. But it'll be interesting to see what the market does now. Now, if this does fail, right, you know, if this does turn into a kind of a topping action, then, you know, you could see some, well, yeah, you could potentially see some downward movement. I think if we get a break below this area, this support zone, right, you could see that market fall again. We have seen yen strong, we have seen the Swiss strong, and I would think that continues today over the longer term. But again, I know it's sometimes Fridays are similar to a Monday where, you know, not really great trading wise, but I think if this holds, right, if this holds, then yeah, we could see it come back up. But we're waiting for that confirmation on lower time frames what this wants to do. So at the moment we're in corrective, but again, if you put like a simple Fibonacci on it from this move, where, I mean, this 61.8 is certainly the line in the sand, but if you're getting, I don't think the 23.6 is enough at the moment, although when markets fall, they do fall a lot quicker than they rise. But I think possibly around this area will be the decision point for this SPX. So, yeah, wait till the market gets around there. Let the market make your decision for you. And if you get a decent kind of, I don't know, hammer bar, engulfing bar roughly around this area, it could be a good time to enter into a potential yen buy, a potential Swiss buy, not a US dollar buy, because the US dollar is weak. But that could be a good indication if you're trading smaller time frames today, that market wants to continue to fall. In saying that also, if you're getting your bullish pressure up here, right, past that 15 getting through, maybe a good indication where if you are trading small time frames or higher time frames, you could start buying up those commodity currencies on this kind of becoming a bit more like a V reversal back up. So it's kind of decision point at the moment. My bias right now intraday is markets fall, it's in corrective, but if that changes, if that price action on the smaller time frames change to something different where it looks quite bullish, you've got to kind of change that, and you could get potential decent entries because of it. Now, the dollar, I don't know if, I think on Wednesday, I think the Fed news came out on Wednesday. So what basically happened on Wednesday, if you're not aware, was that this initial push in the dollar was to do with tapering talks. right? And that all shifted, or that all changed, when Powell came out and started speaking, basically. And it's basic, and what I feel, and again, everybody has their own opinion, but it's kind of to do with inflation, right? So the big thing that's been in the market for quite some time, inflation. I mean, the last CPI numbers, the US inflation was coming in around about 5.5%, right? Healthy inflation is about 2%, which is why there's these fears in the market right now, because this is kind of going to the period of overinflation. In saying that, when Powell came out and said we could see some higher inflation in the near future, that's obviously worrying for the market. But not only did he say that, he also said they're not going to do anything with rates anytime soon. So we've got rates being at 0.25%. Amy, how you doing? Good to see you here. Thanks for joining, appreciate it. So we've got rates at 0.25%, which is obviously very low, right? The Fed lowered these rates during COVID, try to boost the economy, stimulate the economy. But now we're getting to this phase where it's kind of like overinflation, not quite hyperinflation, but overinflation. And Powell comes out and says, we're not going to raise rates. So we've got that imbalance there, and inflation obviously devalues a currency. So you've got that imbalance there between the Fed stimulus and inflation rates, which is why you see this drop in the dollar. Because obviously inflationary pressures is bad for a currency. Now, I'm expecting dollar weakness, right? We have had dollar weakness for quite some time. If you played that dollar short from roughly around that area, which, you know, this bar was kind of your inclination that it would do that, and certainly a drop below that 200, right, that this dollar was going to fall, along with that fundamental side. I think we get down to this area in the dollar. We might have some support here, but, you know, continuing dollar shorts for me makes sense. I think we could see a decent drop in this dollar all the way down to roughly around this 89. What area is this? These lows here, 89.16. I think the dollar could be in line for a decent drop for quite some time, because again, we look at it, forget about the fundamentals for a second. We look at it technically. As I've said, I've said that I thought it would get up here, so I was wrong on that one, right? Fair enough, I was wrong on that one. I'll hold my hat up. But the structure of the pattern and the structure of what we were talking about is still there, right? We still had that break below, and now we're getting that bearishness. So this price action here does not bode well for the dollar. I mean, you just do that, doesn't look healthy, does it? And we could see, you know, a drop all the way down here for that dollar. So, you know, for me, in the near future, selling dollar, if I get a setup selling the dollar, it makes sense. And I was annoyed yesterday, and I'll tell you why I was annoyed yesterday, because I had this USD Turkish trade, which I didn't take. And I just missed it. I honestly just missed it. I don't really know how I missed it, but I missed it. On this setup here, we're obviously coming from a downtrend, head and shoulders on the 4 hour. Again, another reload here around that 20. That breakout below was an absolute trade, you know, and I just missed it. Unfortunately, it happens from time to time in trading, and I just didn't get on board. But again, you look at the context of that, right? We're here on this corrective here. Let's call this an AB shallow C. So again, key level here is B wave. And it's a break underneath B wave, and look at the result of that. So yeah, I was annoyed I'm not in that, to be honest with you, but what can you do? Daily chart as well. You know, you look at this daily, we've failed at this resistance area, right? We've come down. Now, I was talking yesterday on A1 about, you know, candlestick patterns and you know, how many candlesticks afterwards do you need for it to take effect? So for me, and what I've found, if we have this bullish engulfer, right, or if you have any engulfer, a hammer or whatever, if the technical theory, so the technical theory with the bullish engulfer is that it moves up, right? If you don't see that within 5 candles, I would say you've kind of got to get rid of that bias that this has got to move up. Right, so if you have a hammer, engulfer, Morningstar, if you don't see that action of where it's meant to go, it's saying around 5, 6, 7 candles, something around that range, you probably got to say, well, maybe this one's not going to work. And not only did we have an engulfer, you had an engulfer on lowering volume. So that was another indication there that maybe this wasn't going to push up. And that's what we got with this USD Turkish, right? We've got kind of sideways action. And again, you've got your writing on the wall with this simple hammer. So we got that 20 period SMA catch up, a tag on that SMA, on that hammer. Hammer is obviously bearish. And then here we go. 1, 2, 3 bars later, and off we go. So yeah, again, that for me is one of the most frustrating things with trading, when I miss a trade, because I am selective, right? And when I miss a trade, I'm like, oh, you idiot, why did you miss that one? But anyway, it's done now. You've got to kind of move on. So the ones I'm looking at, I'm still in this pound New Zealand, right? Still in this trade, looks okay. Again, not on this challenge account, but on my actual account. Been in this for a while. So this is just doing what it needs to do. I'm in it, and whatever happens will happen. But I was looking at New Zealand Swiss. I was looking at this New Zealand Swiss, as I talked about, I think on Wednesday, on our head and shoulders pattern. Decent move up here, but again, broken through that area. Wasn't enough for a breakout trade. I would need a little bit more here. A bit more accumulation back to that 20. So if we got price action like this, then I would have taken that break to the downside. We're getting what looks to be a steady state retest here back to roughly around the 20. So what I'm looking for on this NZD Swiss now is a catalyst for entry. So I know this, well, the stocks are falling. That should, help this New Zealand Swiss depending on what the SPX does. I know we have a kind of outside bullish engulfer here. We are on a downtrend. There's no doubt about that. We are on a downtrend. We've had a nice price action here, back to that 20. Good volatility contraction, and we push down below the lows. Now, this outside bullish engulfer is also very similar to USD Turkish, right? Where it's coming on a bit of lowering volume. So even though we have that sign, there is enough there for me to potentially take this to the downside as long as I get the catalyst. So I need, ideally what I'm looking for is an engulfing candle sort of in the vein like this, which is still got about 3 hours. I mean, this candle's just open, right? So another 3 and a bit hours to go. But I would want it to close on these lower time frames underneath this area, right? Because if we close underneath this support area, again, adds confidence to your trade that this will potentially move to the downside. So we are going with trend. I just need that catalyst here to say, okay, we want to go down. Possibly it might come soon because, if we're getting that potential pullback failing or that pullback becoming complete in the SPX, you then expect the Swiss in the end to become quite strong again, right, on the fall down. So again, it goes with that. That's why I do the risk sentiment. Not that, even if the stocks were pushing, let's say, and I got that bar here in these market conditions, because it's quite choppy, you're getting the push up in the stocks, but the yen and the Swiss has still been weak, strong some days. I still would take it. But adding that confidence in with the SPX is obviously something that I like to see. So again, it gives me a little bit of confidence in that trade going to the downside. So that's what I'm looking for in USD Swiss. I like it. Just need that catalyst now to come and give us something nice. I'm also looking at Euro AUD. So Euro AUD. By the way, guys, what I went, because these are the only 2 pairs I've got. So what I was going to try and thinking of doing is, there's 10 people here now, which thank you very much. That's great. Also, thank you for the people that have subbed to the channel. I really appreciate it. Getting up there every single day, which is good. But what I would like to know from the guys and girls in the chat is the one thing that you are struggling the most with your trading. And we'll see if we can kind of give you something to help you out today. But the one thing that you think is the thing that you have to change about your personal trading. So let me know. It'd be interesting to see. Anyway, these Euro AUD I'm looking at as well. Potential head and shoulders on, well, not potential head and shoulders, a head and shoulders here. Corrective back to this resistance zone, pushing on. Slight fake here, right? So slight fake. We've had our fake. An hourly bullish candle here. I'm looking for a push through, a retest to continue to the upside. So even though right? I know we're getting close to this area, but the price action here is good enough for me to be confident about it. Now, if we had the setup, remember this is a 4-hour chart, if we had the setup here, you probably say, no, I don't really want to take that because of where we are. But because this price action is not too bad and decently healthy, you know, you've got your, you can see your head and shoulders there, then I wouldn't mind taking that to the potential upside on Euro AUD. But again, needs a breakout, needs a retest to make it healthy and to allow me to take it to the upside. So yeah, that's really all I'm looking at. Let's take a little look at the scalp, shall we, as a bit of fun. Again, it is a Friday. Sometimes you don't see many setups right now, but let's have a quick look at the scalps. I was looking at this gold, by the way. Gold potential on this 5-minute. Cut with handle. Something in here to potentially take long. I mean, gold, I consider to be very bullish right now. You know, you'd expect gold to be bullish with that inflationary pressures. Gold is seen as an inflation hedge. Gold is seen as that inverse correlation to the USD. So the USD is falling, you'd expect gold to rise, which is what we're getting, right? Even and saying that, this 15-minute looks okay, right? Good push up yesterday, but we're kind of digesting that move now. Broken out of that channel, retested that channel, and now potentially moving to the upside. So this gold looks quite decent. You know, we've got a decent structure here. And remember, I always talk about that 50% rule. In order for that basing cut pattern to be digested, right? So we need something which we're kind of getting here, roughly around 50% of this basing pattern for a potential move to the upside. And again, ideally, it comes within a cut with handle, showing that rising pressure into the level. And I would take that break to the upside on gold, as long as it sets up. You know, there's a chance here that dollar has a slight pullback. This could fall, in which case you've got to say, see you later, I'm not taking that trade. Got to set up perfectly on these smaller time frames. So gold I quite like on that 5-minute chart. Sorry, I'll clarify what I'm saying here. If gold breaks below this area, right, I would consider taking this off. So if it gets to roughly around here, that's still okay. Okay, because you know, you call it a failing channel where you break out and you come back up, which is actually a decent sign. Give us another reload for potential upward movement. What else have we got? Let's have a look at the euro. I think the euro's probably gone. Yep. You know, you've got to wait for that to settle down. For me, on the smaller time frames, you're wanting to be in at this point and not getting in here. So you need it to reset up before you potentially go anywhere with that euro. But I do like the euro yen. I like the euro yen for scalping. I've had decent results on that. Kiwi again, another one you can just see from the charts here on the 15-minute. Right, so for my scalping, if I see that, I can go away for a little bit and say, needs to reset up, needs to redigest that move. I was looking at a potential long here, but again, look at this. Even though this is went, okay, fair enough, this is gone. This is gone, so what was I trying to say? Sorry, I've lost my chain of thought. Even though this has moved to the upside, that still wasn't good enough for me to take that as a potential long trade, because again, this basing structure is not digested. So yeah, I need that to reset up for a potential long. Have you already discussed pound USD? No, I'll go into pound USD, Amy. And Sahel, what do you think of copper? Copper, I don't look at copper, Sahel, but I can have a look at it on TradingView. I don't have copper in my charts. The commodities I trade are gold, silver, both against the USD and the euro, and palladium. But I haven't looked at copper, so I'll have a look at it if you want. Again, same with the Aussie. The Aussie's kind of moved a little bit. Looks bullish, but needs to reset up for me on these smaller charts to potentially take that to the upside. All right, let's look at pound USD and then copper, and then I'll be done for the day, for the Friday. I'm getting out of this office. Been working far too much in it, so I'm getting out of it. Pound USD looks bullish, right, Amy? Certainly looks bullish. The only thing here is we've had a decent move to the upside, right? We're getting roughly around this anchor zone here. So you'd expect possibly a little reaction here, roughly around this area because of the price action going into it. So you consider this to be a very, I mean, this is a great trend. When pound gets onto to a movement, it goes quite well. But I would just be a little bit, I wouldn't be buying it here, put it that way. I'd wait for a slight retracement before potentially taking that again to the upside. You know, pound USD looks bullish for sure. With that USD weakness, it looks bullish. If the USD wants to sell off, okay, it could break through. We know the pound, when it gets momentum, it does move. But I wouldn't, for me personally, I wouldn't buy it here. I'd be waiting for a pullback. But certainly does, yeah. Certainly looks bullish for me. Looks okay on the smaller time frames. But again, I just wait until this area is hit and see what happens then. So Hale, copper. Okay, let me get TradingView up. Because I don't have it on my FTMO platform. Let me get it up here. So copper futures, that's not it. What's the ticker for copper sale? I don't even know. It's not copper futures, right? What's the ticker for copper sale? I don't even know. It's not copper futures, right? Copper ticker. Copper ticker. HG1. HG1, see? That just shows you I never trade I never trade copper. HG1. HG1? You sure? I never trade copper. HG1? Sure. Copper USD. Copper USD. No, the actual. So gold, for example, gold is XAU USD. What's the copper one? So Hale, I don't actually know. I've never traded it. Gold, for example, gold is XAU USD. You put copper in here, it's giving you copper futures. We can look at copper futures. Put copper in here, it's giving you copper futures. We can look at copper futures. There we go. HG1. I'm putting in HG1. Oh, you've got copper futures here. HG. I've got you. I've got you. It's the same chart. Okay, there you go. Oh, same chart. Copper futures here. Copper. Okay, let's have a little look. I've got you. It's the same chart. Okay, there you go. Oh, that looks nice. Sale. Copper. This looks good. Push on. Nice corrective here. That looks nice. Push through. This price action is nice, you know. You've got your reaction here. I'm looking at this on the daily chart. Right, so potentially if you get something like this, this would be nice for continuation to the upside. I mean, that on the daily chart is starting to look really nice. Sale, I have to say. I presume you're long, right? I presume you're long. 4 hour. I mean, 4 hour. It's had its corrective. How do we put a fib on this? 4 hour. I mean, 4 hour. Fibonacci. Here we are. I never use it. I never use TradingView, to be honest. So you've got, you know, you've hit that 38.2, which is good. Decent kind of move here. Good bullish bar on the 480. On the 4 hour, sorry. Yeah, it looks good, Sahel. I'd have to say. You know, you might get potentially. Well, how do I delete this now? There we go. Yeah, you might get, if you can get more of this, I would say this looks great. You know, I would say that looks great. If you can get more of this, I would say this. You're long. Okay, yeah, I would agree with that, Sale. I mean, look, I certainly agree with that. You know, if you're playing it from a longer term play, let's just take the basics here. Right, let's say you're taking this from this impulse, or let's say you're taking it from a longer term here. A nice corrective zone, fake out that bottom, push through. My favorite breakthroughs of channel, kind of breakthroughs, accumulate and then go. You kind of got that here. Pushing on, few bars here, roughly a possible corrective back to that 20. Yeah, that's good. Weekly chart. Weekly chart on copper. Let's have a look at the weekly. Yeah, buy it. There you go. That's a simple one, right? Tian, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. You're coming at the end, mate. I'm just away off. I'm away off for my weekend. Or I have to do some editing first. But yeah, there you go. I'm not going to pick a bottom in that trend, Sahil. Or Amy, would you? Buy it. Why not? I'm not going to pick buy it and hold it as a kind of longer term play. But if I was trading it, Sahil, I'd wait till that pull back to the 20 again, make it a little bit healthy, and then yeah, a break above there would be good. Yeah, you should be sorry, pal. Hey, waited all half an hour for you. No, I'm joking. I suppose you can watch it on catch up, but to be honest, yeah, not much for me today. Looking at New Zealand Swiss, looking at Euro Aussie potential to the upside, but I think I'm gonna go in and scalp. Anyway. All right, everyone, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you for the new subs. Also, if you're watching it, Amy at Day Trading School, she's got a good YouTube channel as well. Check her out. I think she just released a YouTube video. And yeah, I'll see you all on Monday. Trade safe and have a great weekend. Thanks, everyone. Trade safe. Peace.